Coming up, the Bull family and the Underground Railroad in Clintonville. Then, Westerville's Underground Railroad heritage. And later, exploring the historic Kelton House.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by American Electric Power is proud to sponsor WOSU Public Media Columbus Neighborhoods. Working together with our communities, we're committed to powering a bright, boundless future for us all.
At Ohio Health, we believe it's important to have a healthy understanding of the world around you. That's why we're proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media and their work to educate, entertain, and inspire the people we serve.
Bailey Cavalieri, your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
There are a lot of claims about who was involved in the Underground Railroad, a secret system that helped escaped slaves find freedom in the North. But the dangers were so great, only the bravest and most committed to the cause dared participate. In Clintonville, that included the family of a circuit-riding preacher. Or should we say that included most of the family? You'll see what I mean.
Clintonville gets its name from Clinton Township, which was named for George Clinton, a very popular governor in New York. One of the first settlers was Thomas Bull.
In many ways, the story of Clintonville starts with the Bull family. Thomas Bull Jr. came from Vermont. He bought 687 acres from about Brevoort down to Weber Road, and from the river to what we now know as Indianola Avenue.
Thomas Bull arrived in this part of the world in 1812 with his wife and family. He carved himself a home out of the virgin forest and made farmland where trees had once been, grew Indian corn, and generally transformed the land.
Even this early in its history, the land was in transition. The frontier was becoming farmland. The pioneers had made settlement possible.
1 year after Thomas Bull arrived in 1812, his daughter Chloe arrived with her husband Isaac Brevoort and moved into a house that Thomas Bull had built. Tragically, while trying to cross the swollen Olentangy River, Isaac Brevoort drowned and was lost.
Thomas Bull's 3 sons become instrumental in Clintonville's early growth. Nathan was a physician and an educator. Alonson was a director of the company that improved the road to Worthington.
In 1847, Alanson Bull, along with some of his relatives and other folks, decide to set up a few stores and shops in the vicinity of what is now North High Street and East North Broadway. The post office he establishes comes to be called Clintonville because it sits smack in the middle of Clinton Township.
That marks the starting point of Clintonville as a named entity.
Another son, Jason Bull, was a circuit-riding preacher in the burgeoning Methodist denomination and carved out a piece of his share of the family land for a church. The sons of Thomas Bull are not only building a community in the wilds of Ohio, they're exercising their strong abolitionist beliefs and creating a network for fugitive slaves.
The Underground Railroad in Ohio was like a spider web of routes and trails. Probably the major route is what is now Route 23, coming from Portsmouth, Ohio, up the Saddle River Corridor, right into Columbus, and then going on to Lake Erie.
The Clinton Chapel was the first church in Clintonville, and Jason Bull became the preacher. But his work went beyond delivering a sermon for the faithful each Sunday.
He was a zealous abolitionist and served as a conductor on the Underground Railroad, along with his immediate family and some of his friends in the neighborhood.
The mother of these gentlemen does not realize that they are actively engaged in this work until Alonson leaves an abolition magazine on the coffee table.
And she was incensed. She said she would never live under the same roof as an abolitionist.
He ends up building a wing onto his house so that she can actually live separate from the rest of the family but still be supported by that.
The chapel that was very much connected with the Bull family was really the hiding place that we can point to. Fugitive slaves were brought to behind the chapel, possibly to stay near the woodpile in the woods, and if you know Walhalla, you know it's very wooded.
Are you ready to go?
And then if they needed to, they were brought into the chapel area in a room that was accessed only by the attic, so there was no apparent doorway. And then when they were safe, they were brought out and brought up High Street into Worthington or to Westerville.
The Underground Railroad was a highly illegal operation. Those who were involved with it really took their lives in their own hands.
We sometimes have the impression that many people worked on the Underground Railroad in Ohio because to an extent it's our enduring myth. The fact of the matter is most people didn't. It was a crime to basically help runaway slaves escape to freedom, and you could be fined heavily and in fact even imprisoned. Many people kept their activities on the Underground Railroad quite secret. A good example of that is Cynthia Bull, who once wrote a letter.
She would be given a basket as if she was going to collect eggs, but there were provisions in the basket. She would take that little basket and feed them many times while he was preaching.
Coming up, the Westerville leg of the Underground Railroad. And then we'll explore the Kelton House and the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad branched out in Columbus. One route went due north through Clintonville, while another took runaway slaves through Westerville. Architectural historian Jeff Darby explores one of the homes in Westerville that played a role in the Underground Railroad.
We're in downtown Westerville, about 15 miles north and east of downtown Columbus. It's an old community, almost as old as Columbus itself. The area was settled about 1810. It also had some Underground Railroad experience, and we're just about to visit the Hanby House, Benjamin Hanby House, here on West Main Street in Westerville, home of Benjamin Hanby, who was who wrote music. He was a lyricist and a musician, and he wrote some songs I think you'll find familiar. Hi, I'm Jeff Darby.
Hi, I'm Pam Allen. Welcome to Hanby House.
Thank you very much. It's nice to meet you. I haven't been here before, I have to admit, and I'm glad for the chance.
It's a treasure here in Westerville and has repercussions from this history go around the world.
And it looks like maybe this is the kitchen. I see a big stove.
This, yes, indeed, was the kitchen. And believe it or not, one of the daughters in the household said that they always planned for 16 for dinner in this space. So that's like cooking a Thanksgiving dinner every day of the
every
week.
single night.
Yes.
My goodness. Well, let's see some more of the house.
Right,
I can tell already it's a great place. Was this a parlor? Is this where they'd entertain?
This is the parlor, and the parlor was for entertaining. That was for the happy times. We have the patriarch and the matriarch on the wall, Bishop and his wife, Ann Miller Hanby. Bishop was instrumental in getting Otterbein founded to admit women and blacks on an equal status with the white male
Well, this was a
student.
progressive community. It had history in
was
the
very
Underground
much.
Railroad. Of course, it's temperance history. So
Indeed.
a very progressive community and kind of out on the frontier at the time, at least the time it was settled.
And the Hanby family had been involved in the Underground Railroad when they lived in Rushville and Circleville, and they continued that activity once they moved here to Westerville. An important underground feature in this room is the vase in the window with the 3 flowers. That was a secret signal system here in Westerville. Those who were part of the Underground Railroad knew that the number of blossoms in the vase represented how many slaves were currently in hiding here. Anyone else just thought Ann Hanby had some pretty flowers in the window.
Now, Benjamin Hanby was a musician.
While Ben was a student at Otterbein, he wrote his first song that was published, Darling Nellie Gray. And then he continued in his musical career after college, and when he lived over in New Paris, Ohio, is when he wrote his Christmas song, Santa Claus, that we know today is up on the housetop.
So I know there's more house. I know there's another room anyway on the first floor. Shall we look at some more?
Not a lot of house, but I'm happy to show you what we've got.
Well, there's a big bed here, so clearly it's a bedroom, but I'm guessing maybe that wasn't its original use.
That would be a good guess. This is the original kitchen of the house. This front window was originally a door into the kitchen.
Okay, so there were two front doors, one for the kitchen, one to go to the parlor where guests would come in so they didn't have to pass through the kitchen.
Correct.
Okay.
So this was the bedroom for Bishop and his wife Ann, and the youngest son, Sammy, was only 18 months when they moved here, so he probably spent some time.
And then everybody else upstairs.
Yes.
So let's go see.
All right.
So this was another bedroom. There are two rooms up here, right? And
Right.
This is another bedroom. just
This
right
was
at
the
top.
girls' bedroom.
Okay. So this was the boys' room.
Yes, 4 boys grew up in this room. In this corner is a desk that was made by Ben when he was a student here at Otterbein before his family had
Well,
moved
he
to
really
Western.
was a skilled woodworker.
He was very skilled, and when you think they also knew leather work, etc., he had quite a few talents.
Well, the house is so well preserved. It's really in its historical condition with historical furnishings. But how was it saved? I mean, when did the Hanby family leave, and who were some of the later owners?
The Hanby family moved out in the 1870s. And then in 1889, a local man named Squire Faust purchased the house. And his story is interesting because Squire Faust was a slave in North Carolina through the end of the Civil War. And then he came to Westerville and ended up buying this house, which had harbored fugitive slaves. And the Faust family lived here longer than the Hambys did.
And the whole house is just full of terrific stories.
The stories go on and on. The more research we do, the more interesting stories
So
we
the
find.
story is constantly evolving as you learn new things.
It is, and some people say, well, I was at Hanby House 20 years ago, I know, and I go, you don't know what we've learned since then.
Time to visit again. And we
Yes.
should mention it's done, the house is run in cooperation with the Westerville Historical Society, is that correct?
Westerville Historical Society is the management partner with Ohio History Connection.
Thanks so much for the tour. As I mentioned early on, I hadn't been here before, much to my shame, but I've seen it now and it's a wonderful place.
Well, we have special events through the years, so please come back.
And I hope everybody in town will do the same thing. Thanks so much for the
you,
tour.
Jeff.
Next, inside the Kelton House, a Columbus stop on the Underground Railroad, and then a curious C-Bus inquiry about a registry of Underground Railroad sites. For many years, the Kelton House, a stately mansion in Old Columbus, hid a secret. The family that owned it were passionate abolitionists and active in the Underground Railroad. Architectural historian Jeff Darby is on the road again to lead us through this elegant and intriguing house.
We're downtown on East Town Street, a historic district with very good architecture. Town Street in the early days, this is the 1840s, 1850s, was just developing as one of the first suburban areas for people who wanted to move out of the center city. Now, it wasn't a very big city at the time, but it became a sort of suburban enclave within a mile of Broad and High. We're going to visit one of the earliest houses on the street, the Kelton House, which has been preserved as a house museum. And I think we're going to have a pretty interesting visit. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Jeff.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Welcome to the Kelton House.
Thank you very much. So this is one of the most historic houses in Columbus,
It
isn't
is,
it?
absolutely.
Tell me the story. When it was built, who built it, who are the Keltons?
Well, it was built in 1852 by Fernando Kelton and his wife Sophia.
Fernando, that's an unusual
Isn't
name.
it an unusual name? He's from Vermont and she was from Massachusetts. The original house was somewhere near downtown by the Greyhound bus station, and I think Sophia was just tired of living in downtown Columbus. It was noisy and dirty.
The dense city of the 1850s.
Yes, and she wanted to move out to the country, so this was the country.
So maybe a mile east of Capitol Square was still countryside.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
This was
later,
the last house on, sort of on the block.
And then it was just wild country beyond
Just
that.
wild country and
Well,
animals.
things do change, don't
Yes,
they?
they do.
Well, it's a wonderful place.
It is.
Tell me the story of the house. Now, the Kelton family held it until what, in the 1970s?
Oh yeah, until the very last Kelton lived here, which was Grace Kelton. She died in 1975.
And she was a granddaughter of the builder?
She was the granddaughter.
Okay, because she was fairly elderly when she passed away.
Yes, she was.
I think in her 90s?
Yes, well in her 90s.
And,
yes.
but the house got preserved.
Yes, you know, she actually made a stipulation in her will that if they could not save this house, that she wanted it torn down and given the land to be a part to the, to the city.
So it could have been torn down, but the Junior League of Columbus stepped forward, is that right? And has the house now and has opened it, well, it's been 40 plus years.
Oh yeah.
It's been a house museum all that time.
Absolutely, and the Junior League raised $1 million to restore the house and open it up as a house museum.
But it has all the original furnishings, I understand.
It does.
Is that correct?
It does. Grace was in interior design, and so a lot of the furniture here was her, ancestors' furniture, as well as hers. She traveled all over the world. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So it's wonderful to have this beautiful house and have so many original artifacts in it.
Well, let's take a further look. I'd love to see more
let's
of
do
the
that.
house. So the house has 2 parlors. That's pretty formal. A house of that period.
It is. It is.
So there's a front parlor that we were just in and a back parlor.
Yeah, and this back parlor would have been considered like what we call our family room today. Because the children would have been here, girls would have been engaged in cross-stitching or crocheting, and the boys would have played with games or had a little chess game. And the front parlor would have been used for more formal things.
Special events.
Absolutely.
What sort of events?
Well, one of the events here was a wedding, and it was the wedding of Martha.
Oh, was that one of the daughters of the Keltons?
No, Martha was an African American. She was an escaped slave girl.
Well, there must be a story there.
There is definitely a story to that.
There's more to tell on that, isn't there?
Yes, more to tell.
Okay.
Let's go see.
Let's see. Historic photos.
Yes.
What are we looking at here?
Well, there are Kelton family members in here. This is Sophia. But the person I would like to talk to you about is Martha Hartway. Martha Hartway was 10 years old when she was found hiding outside of the Kelton house and found by Sophia. And Martha was 10 years old, and her sister, Pearl, was 13 years old. Pearl did not stay, but Martha was very young and very frail. And so the Keltons took her in and raised her here with their children.
So they had come from somewhere farther south.
They had come from Powhatan County, Virginia. That's near the Richmond area.
Right.
And the story is a pretty sad one. Their mother had told them that they would no longer be able to stay with her. They were all enslaved, and that the girls would have to move to the big house. And somehow, that mother made passage for those girls to come here. And I'm not sure if they ever saw their mother again.
So that's Martha.
That's Martha.
In later years.
In later years.
And her husband Thomas above.
And Thomas was a free black man of color from Cadiz, Ohio. And he and his parents moved to Franklin County. And then he finally made his way to the Kelton house when he was looking for work. And he was a very skilled carpenter. And a lot of the things that you see here in this house in terms of woodwork are things that that was his handiwork. And it is thought that the two of them lived here with the Kelton family for some time until Thomas was able to find a job that made enough money where he could, purchase his own home.
So she was treated as though she were a daughter. She wasn't, but she was treated as though she were.
And she would probably do some domestic work, I would think. Most likely because the Kelton family was very interested in high education. I'm sure that they taught her how to read and how to write. But they lived a long life, and she lived her whole life after, escaping here as a free woman. And, as we commemorate 400 years of the transatlantic slave trade, there's something else I would like for you to see downstairs in the basement.
I'm always ready to see something else.
All right, I think you're going to enjoy this.
Lead the way.
All right.
Oh, the basement. Basements are always interesting. I love basements.
Yes, a lot of secrets in the basement.
Well, Columbus is so lucky to have a place like this. It tells you so much about life at the time, about a prominent family and how they live their lives, but also an unusual story of taking in an African-American young girl and giving her a future. I mean, it's such a great story.
At a time, it was illegal to do that.
Yeah, legally illegal. Oh, behind the wood door.
Yes.
Oh, look at this. Oh, what a fascinating space.
It is. This is our Underground Railroad learning station.
So we're in the basement.
We are.
This is set up now. This is not where Martha would have been. She was in the house.
No, when they found her hiding outside, Sophia brought her in. So this was not a place where they kept her.
But this is set up to represent what might have been a typical hiding place for escaped slaves.
Yes.
Somewhere in Ohio. It could have been anywhere.
It could have been, there were all sorts of hiding places, and down on the lower level, a root cellar or whatever of a house could have most likely been used.
Now, I'm right, Arnie, that these are mostly pre-existing spaces. They're found spaces. People didn't build hiding rooms particularly during that period.
No, not at all.
They found spaces they already had.
They already had, and there's that story of the tunnels.
Yeah.
There were small tunnels depending on where they were, but those were typically used for other reasons, to bring in goods and whatnot.
So another type of found space, but not built for the purpose
absolutely
of
not. No.
Yeah. So there's some mythology.
Yes, there's quite a bit of mythology in that.
Well, and places like this help get rid of the mythology and really tell the true story.
Yes,
you have, for example, the panels here in this room that tell a very compelling story.
Yes.
From a worldwide, national, Ohio, and then Kelton perspective.
Right, we go from the national story, we go from the transatlantic slave trade to we talk about some of the well-known heroes and heroines of the Underground Railroad, to Ohio's role in the Underground Railroad,
which was major. Major role.
Absolutely, was major. And then we come here to the Kelton House, to an actual station in Columbus, Ohio.
Now, do you do teaching here you're retired from teaching in the Columbus schools, but do you come here with groups and still do the interpretation?
Yes, and when I was teaching, I would bring my students here. And there are thousands of school kids that come here every year to understand the history of the Underground Railroad, to learn Ohio's role and how important it was in the Underground Railroad, and to hear this story of this young 10-year-old girl who is taken in by this family and who's raised here and has a good life and tastes her first, years of freedom.
Well, it is. It's a compelling story. It's a true story. It's well documented. And you've done such a good part in telling us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For this visit.
Thank you for coming.
Well, happy to be here. I've known about the Kelton House, but getting this in-depth tour has been really wonderful.
Well, I appreciate you coming. Pass the word.
Curious C-Bus is WOSU's project where you submit your questions about our region, its people, or its history, and we assign a reporter or producer to investigate it. Before the Civil War, thousands of slaves escaped to freedom by traveling north through Ohio on the Underground Railroad. It was a loose system of safe stations where abolitionists and humanitarians gave aid and shelter to runaway slaves. Darius Irvin wrote in and said that he knew of a couple so-called stations in the area, but wanted to know more. His question: does a registry exist of Underground Railroad stations in Columbus? While there are many known sites across the city that were active in the Underground Railroad, there's no public registry that lists them all. According to research done by the Friends of Freedom Society, there are well over 20 documented Underground Railroad sites in Columbus. But since many of those are private homes, the addresses have not been made public. That said, there are many well-known Underground Railroad stations around central Ohio. Near the campus of Ohio State University is the Kappa Sigma Fraternity House on Indianola Avenue. It was once the home of Robert Neal, who was the son of the wealthy Neal family. Tunnels beneath the house are said to have given escaped slaves covert access to the Olentangy River. Rivers and creeks were often used for travel to help conceal tracks from bounty hunters and their bloodhounds. Another site is on High Street in the Clintonville neighborhood. Today, it's a child daycare center, which was recently converted from a funeral home. But in 1838, it was the Clinton Chapel. In the mid-1800s, the congregation had strong anti-slavery beliefs, and the chapel's basement was a safe hiding place for fugitive slaves. Another documented Underground Railroad station was the home of Ozim Gardner. The successful brick mason was also a member of the Worthington Anti-Slavery Society. According to one history of Franklin County, he helped over 200 slaves on their way to freedom. Elsewhere in central Ohio, sites such as the Hanby House in Westerville and the Livingston House in Reynoldsburg are recognized for the part they played as stations in the Underground Railroad. So, while there's not a registry per se of Underground Railroad sites, it's no secret that many in Central Ohio risked their own well-being to help slaves reach freedom. And many of the buildings that served as safe havens on that passage still stand today. Do you have a question for Curious C-Bus? Head over to wosu.org/curious to submit your idea, vote on which question we should investigate next, and see what we've covered so far.
Thanks for being with us. And remember, you can catch all of our episodes on columbusneighborhoods.org. Plus, see our stories on the WOSU mobile app. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you back here next week on Columbus Neighborhoods.
Support for Columbus Neighborhoods is provided by American Electric Power is proud to sponsor WOSU Public Media Columbus Neighborhoods. Working together with our communities, we're committed to powering a bright, boundless future for us all.
At Ohio Health, we believe it's important to have a healthy understanding of the world around you. That's why we're proud sponsors of WOSU Public Media and their work to educate, entertain, and inspire the people we serve.
Bailey Cavalieri, your relationship with your law firm doesn't need to be complicated, it just needs to be right. And by viewers like you. Thank you.